Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. The snow leopard rescued from Morang's Urlabari likely to have been smuggled. Police hint at suspicious reasons behind the discovery. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal maintains conspicuous silence despite the lapse of 1 week since the probe committee submitted report on the sales of NCL shares. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Egypt aiming to pave way for an agreement between Israel and Hamas as the war in Gaza rages on. And a 14-member national squad to compete in the ACC Women's Premier Cup announced, Indu Verma to lead the national women's team. The public raised their voices against injustice or grievances at public spaces. Political parties and social organizations also exert pressure on the government by holding peaceful protests at public places. However, a prohibition has been imposed to demonstrate at such places in recent time. The public used to raise their voices against injustice by holding protests in capitals Bhadrakali, Maitigarh, Babar Mahal and New Baneshwar, among other places. The local government in recent time has imposed restriction on conducting such programs in these areas. The Kathmandu metropolis declared the area between Maitigarh and New Baneshwar as restricted and prohibited such mass gatherings from 20th of November last year. People began holding protests in Shantivatika. Meanwhile, the local authority has also imposed prohibition on holding protests in Shantivatika as well. The government that is unwilling to hear public's grievances has been imposing such restrictions in areas around the administrative hub of the country, Singhadarbar, while the ruling political parties themselves had held protests against the government in the past. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal himself had held protests at Maitigarh to draw the attention of the judicial body. The Kathmandu metropolis has closed Khula Manch in the capital, which used to be the symbol of democratic voice against autocratic rule. This has infringed people's rights to raise their voices against the government. Protests against the government have started increasing in fact, amid government's negligence in maintaining good governance and service delivery. Instead of addressing this issue, the government's efforts to silence people has been viewed as a challenge to the democratic system itself. The snow leopard found in the Tarai region of the country is suspected to have been smuggled. The discovery of the snow leopard in the lower belt, which is mainly found in the alpine ecosystem of the Himalayan mountain range itself, is a matter of investigation. Police have begun probe with the suspicion of smuggling in the case. Meanwhile, the government has been limited to forming a probe committee. A snow leopard was found in Morang's Urlabari on the 24th of January. The finding as high above as 3,000 meters in the snow-capped mountains. The government, saying that the snow leopard could have lost its way, had termed the incident as normal. However, the World Wildlife Fund Nepal WWF has rejected the government remarks. WWF has claimed that the detection of the endangered species in Tarai region was not due to effects of climate change or by losing its way. They say that it could have been brought by smuggling or to domesticate it. The incident has started being viewed with interest by the international organizations related to wildlife. Experts conducting research on snow leopards have also said that it could have been taken to Urlabari by poachers. The Secretary of the Ministry of Forest, Deepak Kumar Kharel, had directed to form a working committee to study the incident. However, the committee has yet to be formed. The snow leopard is currently being kept at the zoo in Lalitpur. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, who had announced of taking action against the perpetrators involved in the sale and purchase of shares of NCL, has remained silent. It has already been 1 week since the probe committee submitted the report to the Prime Minister. Premier Dahal has yet to take action against those found guilty in the sale and purchase of shares of NCL. The Premier had formed a probe committee following directives from 3 parliamentary committees and widespread criticisms, while the Premier had maintained that he would take action against those who are found guilty. However, the Prime Minister has maintained an unusual silence on the issue. He, analysts say, could have remained silent to cover the issue, provide immunity to those guilty, or to take action against after detailed investigation. The Public Accounts Committee that has been investigating the case says that the issue cannot be delayed despite the Premier's disregard. The report states that investigation is required on tax evasion by the entity lying to the state body regarding the trading of its shares, politics not to hand over the ownership after the fiscal year 2076, and effort to fade the country's image by saying that there was no investment-friendly environment in the country. The report has recommended to take action against the perpetrators. However, the report has not been forwarded to the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology and the Ministry of Trade and Commerce. According to a source from the Prime Minister's office, the report is being studied by the Chief Secretary. Speaking to Kantipur television regarding the implementation of the suggestions in the report, high-ranking government officials said that the Office of the Prime Minister has yet to issue a directive in this regard. And it is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we'd asked you, what do you term the trend of senior politicians not attending the parliament meeting? 80% voted for option A, lack of accountability, 14% for B, feeble regulations, and 6% for C, busy politicians. Here's today's question. Why has the government reduced platforms for public to share the grievances? Your options are A, fear of the public, B, autocratic mentality, and C, for better management. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked people in several provinces, how has the use of internet affected their lives? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
बाबुआमा नेपालमा हुने छोराबुहारी नातिनातिना सबै विदेशमा हुने अब उनीहरुसँग दैनिक भेट हुन कुराकानी गर्न सुख दुःख साटासाट गर्न पाइएको छ
मल्टिमिडियाको युजबाट अनि गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ राम्रो छ
टाढा टाढा रहेका आफन्तहरुसँग नजिक भएर बसेको आवाज पनि दिलाएको छ हैन यो इन्टरनेटको प्रयोगले
देश विदेशमा हुनुभएका हाम्रो आफन्ती दाजुभाइहरुसँग प्रत्यक्ष भेटे जस्तै कुरा गर्न पाइराखेका छौं
संसारकै कुरो राम्ररी थाहा पाउन थालियो छ
शिक्षा ज्ञान र सन्देशलाई हामीले वितरण गर्न अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय जगतमा साझा बनाउनको लागि इन्टरनेटले महत्त्वपूर्ण योगदान पुर्याएको छ
इन्टरनेटले गर्दा जुन मोबाइल फोनबाट फोन गरेर कस्ट धेरै लाग्ने हुन्थ्यो त्यो चाहिँ मिनिमाइज भएको छ
जति पनि कामहरु छन् सबैलाई चाहिँ छिटो पार्नको लागि चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ एकदमै राम्रो प्रभाव पारेको छ
सूचना सम्प्रेषणको लागि एकदमै सकारात्मक प्रभाव पारेको छ
देश विदेशमा के भइरहेको छ त्यो सम्पूर्ण घटनाहरु हामीले यही एकै ठाउँमा बसेर पनि लिन सकिरहेको छ
यसले चाहिँ एउटा विश्वलाई अहिले एकै ठाउँमा ल्याएको छ
धार्मिक विषयवस्तुहरु मैले हेर्ने पढ्ने गरेको छु
देश विदेशको खबरहरू भएका घटनाहरू तुरुन्त सुन्न पाइन्छ
मिनेट भरमा चाहिँ संसारका समाचार चाहिँ सुन्न पाइन्छ
इन्टरनेटको सुविधा भएपछि हामीलाई धेरै सहज भएको छ
नेटबाटै नै सेवाको सुविधा पाउन सक्छौं
देश विदेशबाट पैसा सुविधा छिट्टै पाइहाल्छ
अहिले मान्छेलाई बरु घाँस कपास चाहिँ सेकेन्डरी कुरा अहिले यो इन्टरनेट चाहिँ प्राइमेरी कुरा जस्तो चाहिँ भइरहेको छ
We'll take a short break here. More news coming. Welcome back. President Ramchandra Paudel has appointed Padma Prasad Pandey to the post of General Secretary of the Federal Parliament. The appointment was made as per the recommendation of Speaker Devraj Khimire and National Assembly Chair Ganesh Prasad Timalsina. The appointment was confirmed by legal advisor to the President, Baburam Kuwar. The Office of the President has also issued an official statement regarding the same. His appointment was recommended last day itself. However, the Office of the President had raised question on the process. Then, on January 17th this year, the Speaker and the National Assembly Chair sent a reminder letter for the appointment. The Office of the President had argued that his name was recommended when he was still serving in the position of the Parliament Secretary. Pandey is a resident of Palpa Ribdikot and was recommended to the post on 25th of November last year. He had been serving as a secretary at the House of Representatives and submitted his resignation on 23rd of January. Questions have also been raised regarding Pandey's citizenship. There are allegations that he has issued 3 citizenship, which the State Affairs Committee is currently looking into. Let's move on to international update. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has landed in Cairo today for his meeting with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as the U.S. works to advance a Gaza truce and hostage deal mediated by the Egyptians and Qataris. The top U.S. diplomat departed Riyadh shortly after sunrise for what is said to be a marathon day visiting Egypt and Qatar before flying to Israel to discuss hostage negotiations, post-war Gaza plans, and the prospect of Arab countries and Israel normalizing ties. Blinken's fifth trip to the region since October comes as the U.S. presses ahead with its retaliatory campaign against Iran-allied militia, which had attacked last month and killed U.S. troops in a military outpost in Jordan. Washington sees a possible truce to free remaining hostages Hamas kidnapped on October 7 and pause fighting in Gaza as key to progress on other challenges such as the governance of post-war Gaza, a path towards Palestinian statehood, and a deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia to normalize their relationship. Meanwhile, the United Nations announced its appointment of an independent review group to assess whether a UN agency supporting Palestinian refugees is working with neutrality. Israeli intelligence has accused at least 12 United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East UNRWA employees of being involved in the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7 last year, the Times of Israel reported on January 29. The US, UK, Canada, Germany and some other countries have paused their funding for the agency after Israeli accusations. Now, a federal appeals court has ruled that Donald Trump does not have immunity from charges that he plotted to overturn his 2020 election defeat, bringing the former US president a step closer to an unprecedented criminal trial. A three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit rejected Trump's claim that he cannot be prosecuted because the allegations relate to his official responsibilities as president. The ruling, which Trump is almost certain to appeal, rebuffs his attempt to avoid a trial on charges that he undermined American democracy and the transfer of power, even as he consolidates his position as the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination. Trump's lawyers argued that former presidents were entitled to sweeping legal protections and could not be criminally prosecuted for official actions unless first impeached by the House of Representatives and removed from office by the Senate. Trump was impeached twice by the House, but each time Senate Republicans cast sufficient votes to acquit him of the charges. Judges homed in on the broad nature of Trump's claim at a January 9 hearing, questioning a Trump lawyer over whether even a president who ordered military commandos to assassinate a political rival could escape criminal prosecution without initial action by Congress. Several blasts at a popular open-air market in Somalia's capital Mogadishu has killed at least 10 people and left many others injured. It is yet unclear who was responsible for the blasts, but Islamist group Al-Shabaab frequently carries out bombings in Somalia and elsewhere. The government was not immediately available for comment. Bakara, Mogadishu's largest market, teems with traders and is where most residents buy their food, clothes, medicine, electronics and other items daily. We've got more news coming up, but right now it's time for yet another short break. Welcome back. It's time now for Sports Update.
Sports News.
A 14-member national women's squad has been announced for participation at the ACC Women's Premier Cup tournament. The team is to be led by Indu Verma and will include Doli Bhatta, Apsari Begum and Kabita Kaur. However, Khushi Dangal and Sonu Pakrin will be missed in the tournament. Young players Pooja Mahato and Samdana Khadka have also been included in the team. Bindu Rao will be the vice-captain for the team. The ACC Women's Premier Cup will be held between 10th to 18th of February this month as 16 teams are contesting for the title. Nepal is in Group D alongside Bhutan, Hong Kong and the Maldives. Two teams that will reach the final will also qualify for the Asia Cup. India has entered into the final of Under-19 Women's SAF Championship, defeating Nepal by 4-0 in the final league round match as Nepal's journey in the tournament came to an end. The match held in Mostafa Kamal Stadium in Bangladesh capital Dhaka was widely competitive as the first half ended in a goalless stalemate. India opened its account in the 54th minute through Neha's goal, who scored her personal second goal in the 80th minute, giving India a 2-0 lead over Nepal. Nepal's defences kept making the same errors as India scored 2 more goals in the fag end of the match. Sulanjana Rao headed in using Shivani Devi's pass in the 85th minute to make it 3-0 as Cindy Remruatpui found the net in the 3rd minute of the added time. Nepal had been defeated by Bangladesh 3-1 in its first match of the tournament. In its second match, Nepal had defeated Bhutan by 1-0 to keep its hopes of the final alive. However, today's result has brought Nepal's journey to an end. India will now face Bangladesh in the final slated for 8th of February. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.